What's going on, challengers? So happy Thursday night. So I sent out a text message last night asking you guys how you're doing, if you had any questions. I got a lot of questions back, so I wanted to cover one tonight. Okay, someone asked about the nutrition, our journal, the template, and the breakdown as far as like carbohydrates and fats, as far as like calories, grams, macronutrients, and those things. Okay, so I'm going to cover those things. I'm kind of shed some light on why we do the journal and why we do the template versus grams or macronutrients or even calories. Okay, so there's lots of different ways you can measure your food, or you can arrive at the end goal, so to speak. Okay, the easiest way and the most sustainable way that we have found in the past like 20 years of working with people is the amount or the serving size to give them, or to suggest how much they eat at that meal. Another way you can do it, which is just a little more complicated than just saying, hey, eat 1 cup of carbohydrates, is grams. So you have to know how many grams of that macronutrient is in that food. Okay, another way a lot of people do, like Weight Watchers, calories. You can say, hey, eat X amount of calories per day. There's some flaws with that, and then you could go all the way to the end and you can have a macronutrient breakdown. So I'm going to get to that a little bit later on tonight. But by far the easiest, most sustainable lifestyle way and to implement habits that can create weight loss and sustain weight loss is those serving sizes. So I definitely suggest sticking with those as I got up there. Easy and sustainable. As you move down the ladder and like calorie counting and counting your macros and stuff like that, if you think you have to count calories, or you think you have to hit a certain macronutrient goal for the day, okay, that's going to become exhausting over time. And at first, it's really motivating. Oh, I'm going to eat 2,200 calories. I'm going to eat 30% carbs, 20% protein, 50% fat. At first, that's really motivating, but over time, it becomes demotivating. And if you think you have to do that, count calories to create weight loss, and you're failing at counting calories because it's too tedious, then you never think you can lose weight. So there's a much better way to go about it. So we're going to dig into that tonight. And also with the amounts of foods, they're everywhere, guys. They're really easy. So number one, for the amounts, you could do a visual amount, kind of look at it. Maybe you could weigh it out initially to get the serving size that you think. Even if you go out to eat and you ask the server, hey, how many ounces is that steak? She's going to know, 6 ounce, 8 ounce. But go ask the server, how many calories is in that steak? She's not going to know, or he's not going to know. Ask that guy in that steak dinner with the sweet potato and broccoli, ask him, hey, what's the macronutrient breakdown of that meal? No clue whatsoever. So we went back to the very basics about serving sizes and amounts for you guys in that journal, and that's just going to work the best over time. There's a few problems with the grams. Okay, is it grams in weight, or is it grams as far as the macronutrient that you're consuming? A lot of people sometimes eat the grams in weight, which is totally wrong. Like a 5-ounce steak weighs 140 grams, but it doesn't have 140 grams of protein in it. Okay, it only has 35 grams of protein because it has a lot of water and other things in there. So grams can be confusing. Calories, we just demonize calories, right? Like you got to eat X amount of calories a day. And then we have good calories and bad calories. We've demonized them. They've emotionally beat you down over the years, right, with calories. Now we got calories or points. You got the Weight Watcher system. You've got calories, which are supposed to be, you're supposed to fuel your body to be fabulous and eat high density whole foods, a lot of nutrients in them. And then we converted that to a point system. You get like a certain amount of points today. That's no way to live. Come on, guys. And then down to those macronutrients, the people that do that, they do look fantastic. Okay, it's very tedious. It's hard to do. A lot of them are bodybuilders, Instagram models. But for us, and I know the audience I'm talking to, we got spouses, multiple kids, 3 kids in my family, 2 dogs, school, work. For us to do macros would be nearly impossible. But what we have found, and with our clients over the years, to sustain a very healthy lifestyle and to be lean, is those amounts, those serving sizes. Okay, so to get to that into the journal, we're gonna have to dive a little deeper. It's just not that easy. So each one of the macronutrients, okay, so you got 3 main macronutrients. They're your protein, your carbohydrates, and your fats. Okay, that's basically what your entire diet should consist of. You do have alcohol also. So alcohol is not a free food, y'all. Alcohol actually has 7 calories per gram of alcohol. And when you drink alcohol, your body cannot burn fat. It has to burn off the alcohol in the bloodstream in order for it to tap into fat. So alcohol, that's a no-no. But each macronutrient, protein, carbs, and fat, has a specific amount of energy per gram. So your protein, you're going to have 4 calories per gram of protein. Okay. Carbohydrates is the same. You got about 4 calories per gram of carbohydrate. And I'm going somewhere. Fats, you got 9 calories per gram. So if you check that out, fats has twice as much energy as do carbohydrates or protein. Okay. I don't mean you have to be careful eating them, because we won't even get into the fact about what these calories and where they come from, what kind of signals they send your body. So that's another reason we don't do a whole lot of calorie counting. Depends on where they come from, the times you ingest them, all kinds of stuff. Depends on your insulin sensitivity. I mean, I could go on and on and on. But the 3 main macronutrients, protein, carbs, and fats, okay, right there. The journal breakdown is our starting point. Okay, that's not an end-all, be-all. So we get you onto that journal to start eating the way the journal suggests you to eat. And then, once you do that, and you're hitting those marks 90% of the time, most of the time you're going to get the results you want. But if you're hitting those marks 90% of the time and you're staying consistent, we can look at that journal and we can make little minor modifications, or we can adjust food intake and get you to where you want to be. It's like a GPS. If I call you right now, and I'm like, hey, can you get me to Walmart? And they're like, yeah, Matt, I can get you there. And I'm like, where are you at now? And I'm like, I'm not sure where I'm at. Like, I don't know where I'm at. Can you get me to Walmart? You can't get me to Walmart unless you know where I'm currently at. So the journal provides us that GPS. Okay, so the journal is a starting point. It's not an end-all, be-all. Follow the journal, live happy ever after, and you're going to hit your goals. You may, or you may not. We need to evaluate those things. With that journal, we evaluate if you're following it, what percent you're following it. We like to see 90%. Okay, if you bring it in, we can check it. That's why those grids are in there. Another thing about the journal, we try to get all whole foods in that journal, but 90% compliance. And also, we look at your hunger, your energy, and your cravings, right? So if you're following the journal, and your hunger's through the roof, your energy's low, and your cravings are out of control, we need to make some adjustments, right? We also look at the in-body sheet when you check in. If muscle goes up, muscle goes down. If body weight goes down, muscle stays the same. Or if you gain fat, lose muscle. We can go back to the journal and look at these things and kind of make some adjustments from there. So, but with that being said, let's get into the question I had about the macronutrient breakdown, the carbs and the grams of carbs, fats in your diet right now. Okay. So number one, starting point, the protein, the serving sizes is 3 ounces. I'm doing this mainly for females. If you're a guy, we can just double it. So protein is about 3 ounces per serving size. So that is the minimum amount to start with. You have to eat at least 3 ounces of protein. Okay, we talked about what it does as far as for fat loss and all that stuff. I won't get into that. But for as most of you guys, since you have the ability to do the in-body, you have that lean body mass. So you know how much muscle you have. You know exactly how many pounds of muscle you have on your body, and we know that you need 1 gram of protein per pound of lean body mass. That's on your in-body sheet. So most females for the protein are going to be around 100 grams a day, give or take. Okay, so 100 grams of protein. If you eat 100 grams of protein throughout the day, spread out evenly. Okay, each gram has 4 calories. So you got 100 grams, 4 calories per gram. So you're eating about 400 calories of protein a day. Sounds pretty simple. I'm going to talk about that in a minute. Fats, if you're following the journal, the template, you get a fat at breakfast, snack, lunch, dinner. So you get those fats. Every meal, a little bit of healthy fat at every meal. The serving size is about 15 grams of fat per meal or snack. So you got 15 grams at breakfast, snack, lunch, snack, and dinner. So that totals about 75 grams of fat per day. And realize that fat has 9 calories per gram, so 75 times 9, you're eating about 675 calories of fat per day. Okay, let's move on down the list. Like carbohydrates, so like at your 2 snacks, you get 1 serving of fruit. So a serving of fruit has about 20 grams of carbs. So you're doing that mid-morning snack and afternoon snack, about 20 grams of carbs each. So that's about 40. And then at dinner for ladies, you get 1 cup of carbohydrates, 1 cup cooked. So 1 cup cooked carbohydrates, you got about 30 grams. Okay, I know it's a lot of math. That's why we don't do it, right? So 30 plus that 20 is 70 grams of carbohydrates a day. 70 times 4 calories per gram is about 280 calories from carbohydrates, okay? So, how to get to macro breakdown and stuff like that, you simply add up your total calories. So if you're eating like true to that journal and nothing else, hear me out, you're getting roughly about 1,350 calories a day. Now, that's not including any trace amounts of calories in your food. And that's not including where that food comes from. Okay, so where that food comes from, like organically grown or not, man, those calories can fluctuate a ton. So, and that's not including any trace amounts of calories or trace amounts of other macronutrients in the main macronutrient. So if you eat 100 grams of protein a day, I mean, if you eat the leanest, driest, nastiest, like white chicken or something like that, you're not going to have a whole lot of fat. But if you're rotating your meats and you're eating healthy meats, some red meat, or if you're eating some salmon or whatever it may be, you're getting additional fat in that meat, okay? So that's going to drive that up. And a good example of that would be like an egg, right? We got like 6 grams of protein in the egg, which is really good, but we also got 3 grams of fat in the egg, in the yolk. So that's why we don't count calories. They're just so far off, and we just don't like them, to be honest with you. We just don't like them. So we're roughly 1,350 calories a day, okay? So let's just play with that number, plus those trace amounts. And again, if you're low energy, this is a starting point. We need to increase some food. Okay, if you're working out more often, we need to increase some food. If you're getting a post-workout shake, you're getting additional protein in there. So things to consider. It's not end-all be-all. It's just a breakdown. Now to get your macros, that's the very last on the list. That's the hardest to get to. To get your macros, you just divide your calories per macronutrient back into your total calories that you're eating. Okay, so you're eating like 400 calories of protein, 400 divided back into 1,350. You're eating about 30% of your diet is coming from really high quality lean protein, okay? And then we divide that 675 back into 1,350, we got about 50% of your diet coming from real good healthy fats. And we know what healthy fats do. I mean, your brain's predominantly fat. So as long as they're really good, clean sources of fat, I mean, you got some tremendous benefits, not as far as stabilizing blood sugar, burning body fat, keeping you full longer, and mental health and everything else, okay? And then carbohydrates, you got about 280 calories divided into 1,350, so you got about 20% of your total diet come from carbohydrates throughout the day. So that is kind of your macronutrient breakdown. Macronutrients are just really hard. Grams are really hard. Unless you're a bodybuilder or Instagram model and you're not going out and enjoying life, it just makes it really difficult, and it can put a lot of shame and guilt into your diet. Like when you go out to get something and you have no idea like what's in the food, you have no idea what they prep it with, and that's totally fine. Just make the best choice you can, but realize when people are saying, I mean, X amount of calories or X amount of macronutrients per day, man, unless they got somebody prepping their meals and weighing each one of those things out and they're really sticking to it, it's going to have so much fluctuation, it's not worth it. So I hope that helps a little bit. Get rid of the calorie counting mindset. It doesn't work long term. It's just too tedious. You're not going to count calories for long, right? It's like a budget. Like we might start a budget and we might follow it for a little bit, and then once we have that budget and we kind of get the overview and understand where our money's going and stuff, we can manipulate it, we can save some, and we can redirect it, so to speak. That's what we do with the amounts. So the amounts, you know, you got your serving size, you got your palm, you got your thumb for some fats. You can go to the local store, Kroger, Walmart, and buy a little scale, and you can weigh that out to get an idea. And then after you do that for a week or two, like visually, you'll know kind of what to eat, and from there you can make adjustments. So I think I covered everything about the macronutrients up there. And look at food. Don't look at food into grams or anything else besides like nourishment to your body. So when you're eating that food, it's nourishing your body, okay? It's fueling your body. It's what I call the whole foods in the journal. That's what our body's designed to run off of, okay? It's like our factory specified nutrition. That's what we're supposed to run off of. It's what we're designed to run off of. And when we eat that whole foods, like a lot of times, those cravings and stuff will go away, and we'll just kind of regulate our own metabolism, and you'll regulate how much you eat, okay? And if you're not hitting those things, man, our blood sugar goes crazy. We're skipping meals. We're going ravenous, and then we're binging and stuff like that. So, but yeah, if you stick to that journal, it's habit-based nutrition. Like 20 years, me and Scott's been coaching. We've had the business about 11 years. We've given people diets and saying eat. I gave a guy a diet one time. I was like, eat 4 whole eggs for breakfast. So he was eating 4 whole eggs for breakfast, and he did it for a while. And I checked in with him, and he's like, "Oh man, I woke up and I was out of eggs." I was like, "Oh man," but in my mind, like, who wouldn't know if you're eating full whole eggs for breakfast? Like, that's a protein source, right? Like, go find another protein and just shove it out. So I was like, "All right, man, just did you have like a 2-scoop shake?" He's like, "No, I had a bagel." So that's the problem, right? That's the problem with prescribing diets and stuff, and not giving people the education to make the best choice given to them at the time. So that's what we do. I'll probably think of some more stuff as I sit here, but this video is probably long enough. If you got any other questions, let me know. I think I might cover something about intermittent fasting. I know I had a few people doing that. I got some real good stuff on that, and a few other things. So yeah, just shoot anything back you need. Get your weight check this week. Again, the weight check will allow us to look at that journal and kind of pinpoint what's going on. It'll help you succeed long term. And the coolest thing about it, man, once you get that journal and you start eating that way, if you stay here or if you leave here, we've had many people, they left, and we've seen like 3, 5, 7 years down the road, and they've lost so much weight since they've left, and they're like, "Hey, I finally started doing what you told me to do as far as following that nutrition journal." So it's easy to follow. It's not depriving or anything like that. So it's good stuff. All right, man, I'm out of here, and I will hit y'all up with a video like next couple of days with the other questions I got. Thanks.